Hey y'all, I'm back again. So today we have a special guest and I'm really excited to do this update. We've had her here before and I really want to give you all an update on what she's doing now, how she's doing, what she has going on and everything. And she can kind of now give a better idea of what it was like being in her shoes. And we have a special guest, my oldest daughter, Kenesha, and she's gonna give us an update on where she is, how she's doing, and all of that, all of those things. I've had a couple of people ask questions about her, so here she is.
Hi, I'm back, and I'm 18 now. So,
How old were you when we did that first video?
wasn't I like 14?
13 or 14?
I think I was 14.
Tell us. You were 13, I think, then. Mm-hmm. You're 18 now. We're in America. What's up?
I don't want to be here. Try not to get sick.
Okay, that's like
Yeah, I think we established that.
that's you kind of just dived into it.
I mean, you gave me like a very blank canvas. And it's like, oh, so I was like,
Right. Okay, so when we last left off, the last video we did together, we were in Ghana. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of recap what happened after that?
we ended up back over here.
Okay. So when we came back over here, we decided instead of you going back to school, we did unschooling, right? Mm-hmm. So you have at this point, you've been schooled in America. And so the first 7 years of your life, you did charter school here in Atlanta. Then we went to Ghana. Mm-hmm. And you went to private school in Ghana first. You went to 2 different schools in Ghana.
And then we went to that thing with Boss.
Actually, you went to 3 different schools in Ghana because we actually
forgot about that.
We actually did do some schooling with Baba Samori and Dr. Obadale Cambone and
Cambone,
his wife, Ms. Cambone. And some other African Americans in the repatriation community, and some Ghanaian students were there also. That was a cooperative homeschooling program that we attended, and I taught science there for a little while, and then we came back to America. So how did you like?
I forgot you was a teacher.
Yeah, I was a teacher, girl. I'm a little jack of all trades. How did you like some more of them schools?
I liked it a lot because I remember we were doing tree lessons, and because it was in a botanical garden, so we would walk around and be like, oh yeah, this tree is this and tree, and then this fruit is this and tree, and there's like a sort of a playground thing. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and yeah, there was a lot going on. I liked it.
So Baba Obadale, he really stresses everyone speaking in Tree. He does not like to do instruction in English at all. So most of the time he would speak to you all in Tree, right?
Yeah.
How was that? Did it help you learn Tree faster or?
So, okay, I can't. Well, for one, all my tree is left. Like, all I remember are insults and, like, the basics. But,
Okay.
And so, like, but back then, I could understand it better than I could speak it. Mm-hmm. So, I can't really remember, but I guess I was able to understand it at least enough, and if not, I was probably trying to get somebody's child to translate
Help
for
you
me.
out.
Yes, because I was I was one of the oldest there. Most of them were younger kids, like around
Yeah.
8, 9,
Yeah.
maybe 7. Yeah.
So for the most part, you were like helping out, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of the three, 4 different kinds of schooling that you had, when you had your schooling in the U.S., you had your private schooling in Ghana, you had homeschool cooperative, and then you had unschooling at home with me, right? So of the 4 different kinds of education that you've been exposed to, which one do you think was most beneficial to you now that you're in college?
I'd say homeschool and private school in Ghana.
So homeschooling with Samori and Obadale?
I won't say that one, even though it was good. But I find for me personally, what I noticed is that with you, because we was watching Hidden Colors a lot and and you had me reading a lot of books. So like now I'm in college, people are mentioning things that I wouldn't have known if I wasn't in the homeschooling situation. And with private school in Ghana, we they're just they're like I said in the last video, they're on a higher level. So the way that they do things and the way that I have to learn things, it's more advanced. So I can see why the foreign students come to America and basically just wipe everybody out because, I mean, shoot.
So why do you think that when they come to, like when, let's say, West Africans or Africans come to America, why do you think that they're doing so much better than the students here?
Well, because with the learning structure, you there is no multiple choice questions. There's no I guess no, like you have to literally memorize the entire like definition for whatever it is you're writing down verbatim, or they'll give you like a half a point. Like, cause I used to paraphrase a lot. It's basically saying the same thing, but they'll give me a half a point because I ain't say it verbatim. So I got aggravated with that. So I went ahead and just learned it the way it was in the book, so I can stop getting these half grades.
Okay, so I know when you're in the schools in Ghana, there's a lot of competition as far as grades goes. How was that?
Okay, it is very shocking. I was not prepared for that. I wasn't prepared to have my business in the streets like that because what they did was so in my first private school, we had an A class and a B class. A class were students who were doing very well. The B class were students who could, as the teacher said, could do better, and some of them just wasn't really, were not applying themselves. And what they would do is every time we had midterms, exams, or anything like that, they had like 2 sheets of paper because the entire grade was 2 sheets of names, and they'd have the first one, and it was this person. They had the test names, and they had the score that they had. So they'll have everyone like they just tally it up like that, and they go all the way down to the bottom. And I'm like, wow. Okay. They just put my business in the streets. And I saw it the first time. I was like, oh my God, I did not do that good. And everyone knows it. There's no handing you your paper folded or none of that.
Right.
They threw me out to the wolves. And it's like, and I'm like, they're looking at me like, oh, Kenisha, don't talk about me because you did worse than me. I was probably like 25th out of
And
like
that
30
was in the beginning.
In the beginning. I was probably like 27th in the beginning. But by the time our midterm came around, we could go from B class to A class. And of course, everybody can fit in the A class. So if you go from the B class to the A class, you pushing somebody into the B class. And I noticed how embarrassing that was for some people. Because when we first took it, I hated being in the B class because they would play too much for me. I feel like in general they played way too much. And so me and a group of friends, we was like, okay, we gonna get up out of here, read, and we was studying. And I had never really studied before. Like before that, I was never really a studier. I was just kind of like read it once and then, put my little guess in, and my little guess would get me a passing grade. So we studied real hard, and we took our exams, and then we basically, if I remember correctly, I think all of us went to the A class. It was like 3 or 4 of us, and we all ended up getting into the A class.
So would you say that having everything out there in the open like that gave you more of an incentive to work hard? Because you were embarrassed?
Yeah, like...
So it was basically like they
shamed me.
Shamed you into doing better.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my case, that helped me out. Because I didn't want to be in that class to begin with, but just seeing my business in the streets, I was like, oh, okay. And I remember there was this one girl. She was in the A class, but she ended up getting pushed into the B class. And I saw her like crying, and I was like, oh. Like she was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And like her friends were comforting her and stuff, but of course you had them people who didn't care, and it was like, oh, look at you, stupid. I'm like, no, she's not stupid.
So let me ask you this: would you say that bullying is a thing in Ghana schools? Is it different, or like how did you see bullying there?
Okay, I guess you could say there is a bit of bullying, but it's like, so like, of course you got the regular like joning, like everyone is always joning on somebody mama, somebody daddy. They always throwing hand signals at each other, and I'm just like, okay, leave me out of it. But bullying didn't really seem to be a thing until I went to my second private school. And that school was at the bottom of McCarthy Hill in Bowie. And over there, they it's like they come to senior students, so like JHS students. We basically had kind of like some sort of responsibility, it seemed like, to like watch the younger kids and like keep them in order. And what I didn't understand is that at this school, they did not like us speaking vernacular at school, which is the language, tree, ga, anyway, anything. They didn't want to speak it. They only wanted to speak in English. And I was just sitting there like...
How did you feel? So you didn't like the fact that they was forcing y'all to speak English?
No.
Was it because you wanted to learn tree, or because you had learned tree enough that you was starting to speak it and it was becoming comfortable?
Well, a little bit of like the fact that I liked learning tree, and I actually like, I had my tree teacher, he actually brought me a class 1, first grade tree book, so I could learn from there. So whenever I had time, I would go into my little book and I would go through there, because they had both English and tree in it, which I thought was interesting. And I would learn it through there. But just the simple fact that we are in Ghana, and these people, they can't, like, I can't just let these kids just speak their language to each other. Like, it's not like it's not like this is English school. Like, we have English classes, but why can't they speak their own language?
Yeah.
Like, we basically having lunch and recess, and they can't speak their language? I didn't really like that.
You and one of your friends used to go to church with them sometimes. This was me not... You would just be like, yeah, I'm going to church with my friends. How was that experience?
Okay, so at first, people thought I was a witch because I didn't go to church.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. It got to the point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see about a church. And there was the one that everyone at my school, and basically most people like in the immediate area went to. It was a Pentecostal church. But they spoke mostly Tree, and I couldn't understand it. So I would not stick around. But my friend Edwina, her church was a bit farther away, but they spoke a lot of English and they were kind of funny. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out there. And I was so surprised because I put on, like, I remember that pink skirt I had. It was this kind of poofy African print skirt, and I wear my little shirt with it, and I go out there. And when I'm walking there, I'm hearing there's literally like 2 churches on every block, and they all just booming, booming, booming. I'm just walking like, golly. And I'm seeing everybody auntie with their wig sideways and their makeup going back here. And I'm just like, you go, girl. And I get to my church, and no one is dressed up. You got people out here in Lakers jerseys. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why? Why are you wearing a sparkling mini dress? Go put some clothes on.
Oh.
You just like you going to the market.
Oh wow.
This is church.
Your friends, how do you keep in touch with them?
So a couple of them we follow each other on Instagram. Most of them have me on Facebook, but I don't be on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And we would text on Messenger sometimes, but with the time difference, they texting me while they getting up for school. They get up for school at 6 a.m. and it is like 12 o'clock in the morning for me. Right. So I'm like, no. And it's hard for me to like text them, like, because the way that they text is really different, and I text the way I talk, and I talk funny, I guess. So while I'm trying to text them and they're texting me, we speak like two different languages, and it's just like, okay. So I don't really text a lot of them, but if I ever, and because there's not really much to talk about, because a lot of us were school friends, and didn't hang out outside of school that much, so there's not a whole lot of conversation. But like, if I ever saw them in person, it would be a lot to talk about, because it's a face-to-face type of thing.
Right. Okay. So let's go back to the unschooling. What was it about unschooling that you liked the most?
Well, maybe it's just my Sagittarius nature, but all the new information was lovely.
Okay. So did you like the fact that like with unschooling there's not so much structure? Like it's not sit down, learn this, do this. It's just like, okay, you need to learn about this.
Yeah, I remember.
Or my teaching style is kind of like, I don't believe in, you got to sit down and write a paper. I feel like you're supposed to learn on the go.
Yeah.
And I think that we learn better if we learn in real life. So,
you definitely applied that when I got my learner's permit, because we was just riding out in Alma. We was just riding. She was like, "Oh yeah, do you know what any of these street signs mean? Do you know what those lines on the street mean?" She's like, "Okay, you know it. All right, let's go on to the DMV." I was like, "Okay," and I kind of passed. I passed, but I passed. And then I got my learner's permit, and I was like, oh.
So, you completed school. We came back here. We decided that you would unschool. You would finish school by unschooling. And as you said, we did a lot of, you learned a lot on the go, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we decided that because we were getting so much pushback about you going back into school, and they were trying to railroad you, so we decided you would just go ahead and get your GED,
right,
and go on to college, right? So how was that for you? Going, can you kind of explain what that process was like for you, or how did that feel?
Well, okay, so like, I'm not gonna front, it felt kind of racist, the way that school tried to put me in 9th grade, when with the whole, we told them we were homeschooling. I had college courses on there, all this good stuff, right? And and I was supposed to be in 11th grade. I'm supposed to be a senior right now, but I was supposed to be in 11th grade at the time, and they're going to tell me I need to be in 9th grade because my stuff isn't credited, and I just need to take a test for 9th grade. Why can't I just take my test for 11th and be in the right age group? Because Alma's a very small town, and my little cousin is going into 9th grade. So what do I look like having the same classes as my 14-year-old cousin while I'm 17.
My issue with that was that they wouldn't even allow her to test at the 11th grade level. So it was just like, nah, we ain't doing that shit. At the end of the day, I knew she was smart enough to go ahead and take the GED and be done, so we can go ahead and get her into college. And that's what we did. She is in college in Atlanta, and she works.
Yeah.
And she keeps a little job. And what are your goals right now?
Honestly, I'm just trying to get out the country. I'm tired of this. I'm trying to go back to Ghana. I don't care if I need to live in the bush. I'm tired of this
Why
country.
would you have to live in the bush, though, when you got a whole
I know. I'm just saying.
place to stay?
I'm just saying. I don't care if I had to be out in the bush somewhere. I'm just tired of this country.
So let's address this. When we were in Ghana, you were ready to come back here.
Yeah, but now, like, people
Now
dying.
that you're here, you want to come back to Ghana.
People sick.
What would you be planning on doing if you were to go back to Ghana at this point?
Really? I just want to live a really simple life.
Okay, but even living a simple life, you still have to make some income. So
Right.
what would you be doing to make you some money?
Yeah, I definitely like get into the family business and stuff.
What is it about Ghana that you miss?
I just miss, like, the feel. Like, everything just feels a lot easier. Like, I don't know. Everything's just, I don't know. It's just like the whole vibe is different.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot, like, I don't know how to explain it. But, like, the vibe was real nice. I miss it out there. When I'm out here, I'm just always anxious. And I'm always worried about something that I don't even need, that I shouldn't even be worried about to begin with. I'm always worried about something happening to somebody.
Outside of Ghana, where else would you like to visit on the continent?
Nigeria.
Nigeria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I want to go to Osobo and visit River Oshun.
Why would you like to go there?
Because I'm on this little spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing that I feel a lot of connection with is Ifa, which is Nigerian. And even though I'm not, like, all the way in there, I find it very interesting. And I want to go out there and I want to experience some things for myself.
Okay. So, we have some connections. So next time we're over there, we can try to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
My baby's all grown up, and she'll be back with me in Ghana when we leave. And until next time.